One day, Donald, the steam truck, was waiting for Mark to take him to a new workplace. Donald had arrived on the West London Railway to help the workmen repairing the new railway tracks that connects the branch lines. Along the way, and it's through the coastal run where it leads to a station at the end of the line, Andrew was able to leave with his passengers. Donald was being rude to Kathy and Eric.
"You're just worn-out wheels on worn-out rails. You need cement for your roads, and we're helping you."
"Pah! I'd rather have to make the engines go to the scrapyards." Then Mark arrived to take Donald away. He was still rebelling.
"Railways are no good. Turn them into roads."
The engines were pleased to see him go. Donald grumbled all the way to the old branch line. He was going to turn it into a road. When they arrived, Donald was rude again.
"Bumpy ride on rotten rails. I'm glad it's over."
"So am I."
"Ha!"
Mark was still cross when he met Chad at the big station. "What's up, Mark?" I just can't get that steam truck's words out of my head right now. Ever since he arrived, I had to take him to help repairing the lines on the old branch line. Then, on the way there, he started to grumble about railways turning into roads. I don't know who he does think he is, but he must be some kind of a road vehicle or something with his own personality. Oh, I think you've met Donald. He's the steam truck who I encountered with once, and he's been like that when he had never seen so many rails around. Besides, I tried to prove to Jackaroo and Johnny that I can work harder than anyone where I had a special funnel to fit it better. After an accident where he and I get into an argument though, the workmen had finished clearing up the mess so they can take Donald away with them. I thought I must have made Donald go away for good. I didn't know you've had to deal with that rudest truck once after that's over. Indeed. And take my advice, just ignore him next time he started throwing salts at you. Donald was now enjoying himself.
"Ripping up rails! Woo, what a life!" "What do you think of this, Chad?"
Chad took no notice. Donald felt insulted.
"You're a useless green puffball!"
But Chad didn't hear.
"I'll show him who's boss."
At last, the workmen reached the level crossing. What shall we do here?
"Tear it up! Tarmac it!"
So they did, but not properly, and Donald knew it. Later, Chad was traveling home on the same line. He was pulling freight cars filled with goods. The cinnamon had forgotten to warn his driver about the crossing. "That's nice. We don't need to stop."
"Yes, we do."
but it was too late. The next day, Mark told Megan all about Donald. "I've never heard of a steam truck before, but I believe it's because you're only a little engine. That's why he's rude to you. He wouldn't dare to cause me any trouble." Donald had been taken to some yards to work. Ethan arrived with the train of empty freight cars. Donald was blocking his way, and the car was stuck on the main line.
"Let me through." "I'm busy. You'll just have to wait."
"There is no time to wait. I must clear my freight cars from the main line to let Megan through."
"Then she'll have to wait too."
Ethan's driver went to complain to the station master, but the Cinnamon hadn't seen the freight car and set the signal to allow Megan to go through. Her passengers were singing her praises, and she was making express time. "I'm the greatest! Just watch me coming through!" She whistled long and loud as she approached the station. Suddenly, she saw a freight car on the line ahead. "Get out of my way!" But the freight car wouldn't move until Megan forced it. By accident. Megan was worried that Mr. Newton would be cross. He was, but not with Megan.
"Whoever caused this confusion will have me to answer to."
A few days later, Chad and Mark found Donald at the harbor. Donald had been found out by Mr. Newton and got taken away on the boat. He looked miserable. "Well, well, well, what do we have here?" "Looks like he's going back to where he came from. I'm guessing to New York he must be going. Is that why he lives there, Chad?" "Of course he lives there, Mark. That place is where he and the other road vehicles have been transported to deliver goods and other things around. I haven't told you about this before, but Donald will more likely be going to turn the rails into roads for sure. So right now, I'm glad Mr. Newton had done the right thing to send him away." "Indeed. At least we'll get some peace. You were right about him after all, Chad. He must be a horrid steam truck that turns out he's been the one who's causing confusion on the railway yesterday. But I'm so glad we don't have to deal with him ever again now that everything's back to normal." And Donald didn't return. The engines can now enjoy their work peacefully to make sure he never will.